Mic testing 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. If you can hear me talking, please say something in the chat room so I can know that you are listening. Me. Good. I'm live then. Hello, Big No. Hello, Darcy. Your name is really green, so it's kind of hard to see. Man, what a day! What a day, guys. That was quite an E3 conference day, wasn't it? Let's just get right into the big news. Sony just murdered Microsoft in the press conference war, so to speak, and it's not even close. Like, if you can find me a Microsoft fanboy who is such a hardcore fanboy of Microsoft that he will defend to the last dying breath that press conference in comparison to Sony, you found a special creature, and we should cage it up and put it in a zoo so that people can look at it like this is what a fanboy looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Because, man, Sony just... It was like watching Ali versus... what's that guy name? Is it Liston? The guy he, like, knocked down the first round. It was that bad. But yeah, how does that even happen? That's my question. Yeah, Sonny Liston, thank you. How does that even happen is my question. Usually you would think Microsoft would know generally what the PlayStation 4 price point is. It cannot be possible that Microsoft put out that price point and all those all those things about the Xbox One, thinking that the PlayStation 4 was going to be $100 cheaper. It's impossible. I don't believe it. I made a joke to my colleagues. I don't know if any of you guys watch Mad Men, but there's an episode in Mad Men where Sterling Cooper, Draper Price are going after the Honda account, and they have this rival advertising firm that's also going after it, and they have this idea of maybe we leak to the other firm that Hyundai really wants to see a commercial, that they would then do a commercial when in reality they didn't want to see a commercial. They wanted to, they didn't want a commercial, let's just say, for the sake of time. And so they leaked this information to the other advertising firm. They end up putting all their effort into this big production of a commercial, and they're all proud of it. Haha, you guys, your commercial better be really good, because otherwise we're getting that account. And then Sterling Cooper, Draper Price don't even do anything. They just give the money back to the Japanese, and they get the account. That's why I feel happened here with Sony and Microsoft. It was a big explanation, but I hope it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. I feel like every single opportunity for the PlayStation 4 at this point that was offered to them generously by Microsoft, they hit the right buttons. They took the right decisions. They did everything right in this press conference. Indie games. Microsoft is still doing its same old thing with the closed developer thing. You need to go through a whole process in order to get your indie game onto Xbox Live. PlayStation, Sony said that it's open. Indie games can freely develop for their console. And then they also, during the conference, they had a whole series of really interesting looking indie games that totally sold me that the PlayStation 4 is the console to own for indie games. And then what else? There was obviously the no internet requirement. And don't you love how Jack Tretton went through each point one by one on each different slide? He would hit the first one, huge applause. And he's like, but that's not all. Second point, huge applause. Like, no use games. Oh wait, no online connection required. Huge applause. And then finally, the kicker, was it $399? The fucking place is going mad. Oh man, what an exciting press conference that was. We got some questions here. Uh, duh, 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 duh. Yeah, I did watch the how to share games PS4 video. That was awesome. And again, another they had the opportunity to make a move that would swing them in the favor of the gamers. They took it. They came out with a brilliant 20-second advertisement with the president of Sony and that other guy. It was like an infomercial of how to share your PS3 games. And it's like step 1, give game to person. And he's like, thanks! And then it just ends. Oh, God, so good. What did I think of the hardware itself? One of my Twitter followers had the best quote for what the PlayStation 4 hardware looked like. It was like the PlayStation 4 looks like the Xbox One in italics, and that's exactly what it is. It's a smaller, slimmer version of the Xbox One. It looks almost exactly the same, but it just looks smaller and slimmer. What else? How do I think Microsoft will respond? That's an interesting question. I have no idea. I've as surprised and as happy as everyone was about the whole Sony announcements thing. Like, just picturing Microsoft as they're watching this, I'm sure the surprise was still there, but instead of happiness, they just had this overwhelming feeling of dread, like, oh no, what have we done? Oh, God. Like, what do you even do as Microsoft? You can't backpedal. You can't. I imagine the publishers are so invested in the Xbox One and the specs of the Xbox One and the requirements of always online and the used game thing. I don't know what you can do as Microsoft. It's a really interesting situation that they're in. I'm sure someone's getting fired. Someone fucked up somewhere. I don't know if it was just a really good job by Sony of scouting out Microsoft and knowing what they were going to do and then figuring out something to do to one-up them, or if it was just Microsoft being completely incompetent and not knowing anything about what Sony was going to do at their conference. Either way, someone's either getting promoted or someone's getting fired. What else we got here? Am I into Kingdom Hearts? I was into Kingdom Hearts for Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and then I kind of lost interest when it took 15 years or however long it is for Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out. I'm not a fan of those various remakes and retellings and re-envisionings of the same Kingdom Hearts stories again and again and again. That franchise took way too long to get to the third game. What else we have here? Let me, before I go into any more questions, let me talk about the Microsoft conference, because honestly, I talked so highly of the Sony conference and how well Sony did. Microsoft didn't do too bad. I was fully in support of the Xbox One until they announced the price point. The price point kind of deflated my enthusiasm. $500 is a lot to spend on a next-gen console, especially if the games are going to be $60 and then you're also paying for an extra controller and then you're paying for Xbox Live. It all just adds up, and I just don't want to have to pay $500 for a console. I told myself $400 is the max that I want to go to in terms of paying for a next-gen console, and it really deflated my interest when I saw that price point. But the games looked awesome. Dead Rising 3 looked really good. The new Insomniac game looked really good. What was it? Sunset something. God, I don't even remember. But yeah, I really like the Insomniac game. I don't know what to make of Quantum Break, but it's Remedy. Remedy did Max Payne. They did Alan Wake. Both of those games are pretty good. What else? Sunset Overdrive. Thank you. Um, and then what else was there? There was a lot during the Microsoft conference that really made me interested in it. Yeah, but I mean, there's just so many negatives about the always online thing, about the used game things. It's just way too complicated. The uh, the process of going through the whole used game thing, and you know, finding out whether the publisher supports used games, and then let's just forget it. It's They made a mistake. Let's just say Microsoft made a mistake here. And then also, let's bring up the Ubisoft conference, because before Sony came on, I said Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, whatever you want to call it. Ubisoft was the company to beat in terms of press conferences, because like Ubisoft or not, they take the most chances with new IP from any other publisher developer that I've seen. Uh, the new Tom Clancy game looked amazing. The Crew, it was like the Burnout Paradise game on fucking crack. It was like the entire U.S. you can drive across with thousands of little missions that you can complete. The ambition in that game is just mind-boggling, and I hope that it can deliver on all those promises that it gives. And then yeah, I'm also super interested in that Tom Clancy game. Watch Dogs always steals the show whenever it's shown at a conference. Ubisoft is killing it, let's just say. In terms of all the third-party developers, Ubisoft is easily ahead of the pack. What else? And then there was also the EA conference, which was kind of... I'm not a big fan of Battlefield, so that doesn't do anything for me. The announcement of Mirror's Edge 2 was nice, even though it was kind of expected. Didn't really see much of it, which... That was the big thing about the EA conference that really drove me crazy. It was like the hour-long conference of 15-second trailers. Every single time there's a trailer, there would be like someone talking for about 40 minutes about why... or not 40 minutes, that's an exaggeration. Maybe 5 to 10 minutes about why this game is so amazing, and let's show you why it's so amazing. And it shows you like a 10-second trailer with 5 seconds of that trailer being a title card. Come on. So yeah, that was a little disappointing. But the UFC game looked cool. From the 10-second trailer that I saw, it was nice seeing Dana White getting up there and being Dana White. He's always fun to watch. The Dark Souls 2 trailer. Let's talk about the Dark Souls 2 trailer. Let's just let the cat out of the bag. I've played Dark Souls 2. I don't know if you know this. I went to a Namco Bandai pre-E3 thing, and I got to play Dark Souls 2 for a good amount of time. And the demo that I played was pretty much everything that was encompassed in that trailer. It was the turtle shell beast, all this other stuff. You know, I didn't get to use the dual wielding stuff. There was the torch, where you have to take the torch into the dark corridor, and all that stuff. And if you are interested at all in what I'm talking about, in about 2 hours at 12, well, less than 2 hours, at 12 o'clock midnight Pacific Standard Time, I have a written preview set to go live on the GameFront.com website. So please check it out. It will be up live at 12 o'clock midnight, which is in about 2 hours, maybe an hour, 45 minutes. So I don't want to talk too much about it, because all my thoughts are pretty much written down in that article. I'll share a link on Twitter once it goes live. Oh, Mike, congratulations on paying off your 10,000 bell down payment to the loan shark and overall awful person, Tom Nook. I need someone who wants a Master Sword, by the way, in Animal Crossing. I have 2 Master Swords, and I'm really looking for some Samus gear. So if you have Animal Crossing and you have some Samus helmets or various suits or anything like that, give me your friend code because I want it. Let's take a look at this. What do I think about Destiny? It looks like a Halo Borderlands mix. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I thought too. I think it looked cool. I thought it looked really good. But at the same time, you know, it's a first-person shooter. I think the loot drops were interesting. I'm interested to see more in Destiny. Right now, it just seems like a really pretty version of Borderlands 2 that takes itself much more seriously than Borderlands 2 did. What do I think of Killer Instinct being developed by Double Helix? I don't know. I thought, you know, the gameplay that I saw looked pretty good. It's hard to really tell whether a fighting game will be good just by looking at little clips of it. You kind of have to play it for yourself and feel how the mechanics feel. But, you know, as far as it being developed by Double Helix, you know, obviously they don't have the greatest resume. I think I looked into them, like Green Lantern is a game that they made, the recent Green Lantern game. G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. Silent Hill Homecoming is probably their most prolific game, and even that was, you know, not great. But, you know, sometimes bad developers can make good games, and good developers can make bad games, so you never know. I don't want to immediately dismiss Killer Instinct because it's made by an unproven studio. I hope that it'll be on the show floor, so I'll be able to try it out. But as far as, you know, first impressions go, based on the look of it, it looked cool. It was great hearing that the announcer again. I love the Killer Instinct announcer. He's like the best fighting game announcer ever. Fat Pep, I already went over how hard the conference, how hard Sony won the conference. Once this goes live on YouTube, you can check it's the very first thing I talk about. Yeah. What else? Sorry if I'm quiet. There's a lot of questions I passed over while I was going on my various rants. Well, I'll just go with this one. What were my thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 5? I thought it looked great. We know that it's going to be open world, which I don't exactly know how it's going to work with Metal Gear Solid's gameplay style. It looked kind of cool when he was riding the horse. He was hanging off of it. But yeah, I think the big takeaway from what we saw of Metal Gear Solid 5 was that it's a reboot. It has to be a reboot, right? I mean, they have a new Ocelot, a new Otacon. You know, obviously Snake is voiced by a new person. And I felt like if it was a reboot, why didn't they just come out and say that? I feel like a lot of the whole drama surrounding David Hayter not being picked to reprise his role as Snake would have been avoided if they immediately came out and said, hey, look, this is a reboot. When you do a reboot, generally you pick new actors to play the characters because it's a new character. I don't... You really think it's part of the main canon? I don't know. It looked like it was a reboot to me. All right. I guess they never confirmed it. But man, it sure seemed like it was a reboot. It's around the time right before the MSX Metal Gear games. All right. Well, I'll take your guys' word for it. It seemed to me like it was a reboot because they had I guess thinking about it now, it could be Otacon's dad, which would make sense because he was the one who made the Metal Gears, right? Are you saying that is Emmerich Otacon's father? Yeah, I guess so. I guess that would make sense. All right, I feel bad now because I convinced everyone, all my colleagues that it was a reboot. Oh, shush with your spoilers. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see, was there anything else that I wanted to talk about from the conferences? We went over Microsoft, we went over Sony, went over Ubisoft, went over EA. Let's see what else. Last Guardian, sad or no hope? I mean, I was sad. I thought that if they had Last Guardian as that last, trailer before ending the conference, like, people's minds would just, they wouldn't have been able to handle it. But it's a little sad that there's still nothing from The Last Guardian. What else? Oh, and let's also talk about Final Fantasy Versus 13 being renamed Final Fantasy 15, which is something that I saw rumored, so it didn't totally surprise me, but it made me happy to see it actually be confirmed, because Final Fantasy Versus 13 never made sense. It never made sense to me why that game was labeled as a Final Fantasy 13 game. But it looked awesome. I actually never really saw Final Fantasy Versus 13 in action before. So seeing that it was such a fast-paced action game, they did the Naruto thing of throwing your sword and then teleporting to it and then doing a bunch of combos. Oh god, it looks so cool. But yeah, I'm super excited about Final Fantasy 15. And yeah, it's a departure for sure from the Final Fantasy franchise, but I think that's what the franchise needs. I don't think the path that it's been on recently is a good one. I feel like that series has been on a steady decline ever since Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy 12 was okay. Final Fantasy 13 was, and then 13.2 was a little bit better, but however much it went up because of Final Fantasy 13.2, it went back down because of 11 and 14. So yeah, I'm excited for Final Fantasy 15. I hope that it brings the Final Fantasy franchise back up to prominence, because it's a great game, or it's the series is a great series. I really love 6. I really love 7. Never got to play 8. Never got to play 9. Liked 10 a lot. And yeah. Let's see what else. No, I did not play 11 because 11 is an MMO and I don't like MMOs. What do I think about The Order? That was the Sony Santa Monica game from also from Ready at Dawn. It's hard to have an opinion about The Order because they didn't really show anything. They showed a CG trailer of two people in London shooting werewolves. Like, what does that tell me about the game? Nothing really. So yeah, it's hard for me to get excited. Similarly to how it's hard for me to really get excited about Quantum Break, because I still don't really know anything about it. Yeah, I mentioned Sunset Overdrive a little bit earlier. I think it looks awesome. I cannot wait. It's a little unfortunate that the whole Overstrike Fuse thing happened, because Overstrike also looked amazing when it was shown at E3, and then eventually became Fuse, which is significantly less amazing than that original trailer. So when you see this awesome trailer from Insomniac, you're immediately brought back to what happened with Fuse and how promising the first trailer looked and how disappointing the actual game ended up being. So I hope that Sunset Overdrive doesn't have the same issue. But, you know, I love Insomniac. I love the Ratchet and Clank games. I love the Resistance. Yeah. What else? Phoenix Down asked the event that James and I were supposed to go to for Namco Bandai a while back, what came of that? I kind of just mentioned it. It was Dark Souls 2. We got to play Dark Souls 2, and I am going to have a written preview up on Gamefront.com in about an hour and a half at 12 o'clock midnight Pacific time. So check it out. I'll share a link on my Twitter once it goes live, and you'll be able to read all about my thoughts on Dark Souls 2. What happened to the Minecraft show? We covered this in a previous live Q&A. It kind of just ended. James still loved doing the Minecraft show. Me and Zach kind of were bored with it, and if we're not having fun, then it can't be fun to watch. I feel like most of the fun from watching us play games is because we are legitimately having a blast when we play games. We never fake it. When we're playing a game and we don't really feel it, you know, we'll mention it. And similarly, when we're playing a great game, we're having a great time, you will know that we love that game. What else we got here? What did I think of Infamous Second Son? What did I think of Infamous Second Son? I don't know. I kind of was going back and forth between chat and the trailer when it was happening. I mean, it's Infamous. Infamous looks awesome regardless. I don't have any fear that game is not going to be awesome. So, yeah, I guess I just don't know enough about it to really comment on it, but I have a feeling it's going to be great. What else? My Microsoft predictions were almost spot on. Thank you. Yeah, try my hand at Nintendo. Well, rather than predictions for Nintendo, I'm going to go over what Nintendo needs to do. So let's break this down into tiers. The most important tier. Tier 1. These 3 things need to happen. A, or 1, new Super Mario Galaxy, or whatever the Galaxy team is working on. That needs to be shown. It needs to be playable, and it needs to be awesome. 2, new Zelda, not the Wind Waker remake. It needs to be a new Zelda. HD needs to be like the tech demo that we saw when the Wii U was first announced. 3, Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers needs to be there. It needs to be awesome. I wouldn't say it needs to be playable, but it needs to have an awesome trailer like Smash Brothers Brawl did way back when it was first announced. All right, that's tier 1. Those 3 things have to happen. They have to happen. Let's move on to tier 2. These things really should happen, but you know, if a couple of them don't, then, you know, whatever. The Wii U will live. Retro Studios needs to show its new thing, whatever it's working on. Whether it's Metroid, whether it's a new Nintendo property that they're going to be working on, something. Retro has been quiet for too long. They need to have something at E3. 2, some sort of third-party support. I mean, it's great that they have Bayonetta, it's great that they have Sonic, it's great that Sega is behind them, but they need another buddy. You can't get through this alone, Nintendo. You need to have some third-party support. What else? I guess another Nintendo property. You know what? Mario Party 10 would be great to see. You know, I know Mario Party doesn't get much love from critics, but there's a lot of fans that love Mario Party. It's the kind of game that will get people to invite people over to their house who maybe wouldn't have a Wii U, get them to play it, and it'll get them to say, hey, you know what, this is a lot of fun, maybe I should get a Wii U. So that's tier 2. Tier 3, I don't know, let's say, I have no idea what tier 3 would be. But those things, tier 1 needs to happen. They need to get new Zelda, they need to get new Mario, they need to get Smash Brothers. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Nintendo, and if those things don't happen, I'm gonna be disappointed. Enough of, and let's just also say, enough of Pikmin, enough of Wonderful 101. You know, those games are great, but they've had their time. They're coming out soon. Don't talk about them. Just let them come out. People are already excited for Pikmin 3 and Wonderful 101. Use your time in your Nintendo Direct to talk about the awesome games that we don't know about yet. Any expectation for Shenmue? Absolutely none. I don't think Shenmue 3 is ever going to happen, unfortunately. I never even played Shenmue 2. I really liked Shenmue 1 though. Also, what would be great in a tier 3 kind of prediction for Nintendo, 2D Metroid. It's been too long since we've had a 2D Metroid other than Other M. Other M doesn't count. That was not a let's just forget Other M ever existed. That, God, it makes me mad thinking about Other M. Yeah, there really should be a 3DS Metroid. Oh, and let's also talk about Virtual Console. The Virtual Console needs more love. It's not working, coming out with 2 Virtual Console games a month, or whatever crazy slow release time that they have for these Virtual Console games on the Wii U. They should come out faster. They should be cheaper. I doubt they're going to be cheaper, but it's ridiculous to have to pay $5-6 for an old Nintendo title that should be $1. It's to think that I can pay, never mind, forget it. You know what I'm saying. Nintendo games on the Virtual Console are too expensive. With the exception of games like Super Mario Bros. 3 and games that actually are worth that much money. Yeah, they're too much money. I didn't like Other M. It's not really anything that I have against it. I thought it was a mediocre game. I thought the gameplay wasn't that fun. I didn't like the dodge system, and yeah, it was poor compared to other Metroids. It didn't have the usual Metroid feel. What else? Hold on, I'm gonna check. I need to check something. It's not working! I got Simple and Clean stuck in my head now. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I heard that song being played in a subway once. Not a subway transit system, a subway restaurant. And I thought it was funny. Top 3 moments of E3 so far. 1, when Jack Tretton revealed that there were going to be used games on the PS3. 2, when Jack Tretton revealed that there was going to be, you didn't need a constant internet connection to play PlayStation 4. And 3, when the other person said that the price of the PS4 was going to be $400 and not $500. all three of those moments made up my top moments of E3 so far. The giant black girl has a name. She is Aisha Tyler. She is a very talented comedian, and yeah, she was great for Ubisoft. I kind of wish that all press conferences were hosted by Aisha Tyler. Did the Beyond Two Souls trailer give me a different vibe than when when the game was originally announced? Yeah, it did. I don't know if I really liked it. Um, yeah, I was not under the impression that I believe her name is Jodie, that Jodie was, this hardened military badass. I thought that she was, a troubled teenager, and it covers a very large portion of Jodie's life from what I understand. Um, but yeah, it did give off a different vibe. Um, but yeah, I'm still looking forward to it. I like Quantic Dream. And speaking of Quantic Dream, how about that tech demo they showed, the Dark Sorcerer with the brilliantly overacted sorcerer who, eventually they say cut and they take away the effects and everything. It's all green screened. I thought it was a pretty cool tech demo. Oh, by the way, who saw the Twitch announcement? I was like, fuck yeah, I called that. I knew that they were gonna have a I knew that they were gonna have a Twitch partnership. It just makes sense, with PS4 doing the whole thing with Gaikai. You have to think, well, what's Microsoft's response is going to be? Well, their response is going to be, let's reach out to the biggest streaming, network on the internet, and that will be the response. So let me wrap up this Q&A stream by talking about what's going on tomorrow. Tomorrow is the first actual day of E3. I have a list of I guess I don't have my list here, but I've got a list of interviews that I'm going to. My first interview is actually going to be Dark Souls 2, which I'm super excited for. I'm going to have a second go around on that demo. And we're going to talk with, me and James are going to talk with one of the, I don't know who we're talking to, but we're talking to someone on the dev team for Dark Souls 2. Got a whole list of questions. It's going to be awesome. I got a lot to ask. And really, I have unfinished business with that demo because I didn't beat it. In fact, not a single person at that press event was able to beat the Dark Souls 2 demo that they had for us. And this is funny. So this is the first time I've experienced this. We walked into the demo area and we saw that there were four demo booths for Dark Souls 2. There were 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And we were told that the 2 in the front were the normal Dark Souls 2 demo. The 2 in the back were for the journalists that could not get through enough of the game to write an informed preview. It had God mode, basically. So they basically pandered to the crappy game players among us who couldn't survive playing the real versions of Dark Souls 2. And there were a lot, like, those were crowded, crowded demo booths. People may not know this. Game journalists are actually really bad at video games. I also want to say, because it's basically, the embargo is basically up. You give James a lot of shit, and I do too, for being a crappy gamer, but he actually did really, really well at this Dark Souls 2 demo. He got farther than I did on his first attempt. And granted, the reason why that happened is because he has these strategies, these insane, but at the same time, sometimes they are very brilliant strategies that involve running past people, and then locking the door behind him, and then luring someone to an edge. Like these really cheap ways of winning that don't involve as much skill as actually playing the game the way it's meant to be played, but sometimes they work. But yeah. Dark Souls 2, if you're worried that Dark Souls 2 is going to be easy, it's hard. It's going to be hard. But like I said, I'm going to have a written preview up at 12 o'clock midnight on the Gamefront.com website. Please read it. Please comment on it. Make me feel like I am a half-decent writer. And maybe make my bosses think that people really like my writing. But yeah. What else? So there's going to be Dark Souls. And I think the other game that we're going to be looking at is going to be Call of Duty Ghosts. So we're going to be interviewing someone there again. I don't know who, but I got a list of questions. We're probably going to ask why they made a big deal about swimming through water and the fish AI moving away when Super Mario 64 did that however many years ago. We're going to ask the hard-hitting questions that people want answers to, because we don't pull our punches. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. And then after I come home tomorrow, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to put up my webcam. I'm going to talk into this mic, and I'm going to talk about what happened. So hopefully I'll see you guys here as well. I don't know what time I'll do this stream. Just follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch. I'll let you know when I'm going to stream about 30 minutes before. And what else? Someone's asking a question. If you have a question that you want me to answer, please ask it right now, because as soon as I finish this list of questions, I am signing off. Mitch, can you go over how it works a bit? Do you have a scheduled meeting, or do you go online and pick a number? If you are a member of the press, generally your outlet will talk to the people who make the game, or the PR people, and they will schedule an interview for you at a specific time. When that specific time comes, you go over to the booth, you sign in, they walk you into a little enclosed area of the booth, you do an interview, you play the game, and then you move on. That's how it works. What else? Do I have any revised opinions on The Last of Us since I finished it? No, my opinions on The Last of Us still stand. It is a fantastic game. There are some immersion breakers that are kind of distracting, but at the same time, you can understand why they were left in. For example, your AI partners don't trigger the enemy's aggression. So sometimes you'll have it where you are completely behind cover, and Ellie will be walking around right in front of a guard, and he won't even notice her. So it's a little annoying, but at the same time, if you really think about it, can you imagine how much you would hate Ellie if she kept getting you caught? It would be a nightmare. There's a couple other things like that where it's a little small frustrations, but in the end, you can see why those frustrations were not corrected. Any final thoughts on these single-player games always being connected online, with both sides being online behind a paywall? So I assume you mean like Destiny and Titanfall and stuff like that. It's an experience. It's an experiment. I'm curious to know how it works myself. But yeah, Titanfall looks great. Destiny looks great. I don't know what else. I guess there's the Division, I think it was called, and the Crew. We're gonna see how it works, and I can't really talk about my thoughts on it because I don't know how it's gonna work yet. But we'll see. It seems like it's going to be the future of video games, single player video games. There's going to be a subgenre of single player games that have this persistent world where you play a single player game, but you're also in the middle of a multiplayer game. What else? What were my thoughts on Destiny? I pretty much already said. I think it looks great. It looks like a cross between Borderlands, Halo, and something else like Mag or something like that. And I think it looks really promising. But once again, I don't know enough about it. I would like to play it, get my hands on it, see how the shooting feels, and yeah. But it's exciting. I am looking forward to it. And when you walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go. Thank you for watching me, please. Ah, God, I can't go that high. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned tomorrow, and